Hello, everyone. This is James Nussbaumer, and I've gotten a message that I promised that I would get back to. Friends of mine on Facebook had messaged me from, actually, their name is Anna and Mike Strasgolden. And I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Anna and Mike, but they are from a place called Mittenwald, Germany, right in the area. It's a village near Munich. And they had suggested that they were praying for someone to change their ways, and things weren't happening correctly, and the person they were praying for was just they felt as though their prayers weren't being answered, and so I had a little with my group on Facebook, and we had talked about this, discussed this on Facebook, and really we came to the bottom of it. It's like we really can't send out prayers and expect that other people are going to change, because what we need to do is we need to pray really within ourselves, for ourselves, on how we're seeing the world. And that's what we learn from A Course in Miracles, a self-study guide for psychotherapy. And many of you people know, are already involved in A Course in Miracles, so you wouldn't be watching this video. And for those of you that aren't, this raggedy old version here that I always show most of the time when I'm doing a lesson, there's a very great story as to how I discovered this old beat up volume, but it's just a tremendous story, and every time I think of it, it just, my heart swells up. But I want to do, I promised Anna and Mike, and I know it's Anna, but I had said Anna first of all, but that's just my American lingo talking, but it's Anna and Mike, and I promised them that I would do lesson 12 this evening for them, and the whole gist of lesson 12 in the workbook for students in A Course in Miracles is, first of all, let me say that that many years now I've been involved with A Course in Miracles, and I daily read the text from beginning. Well, I read it from beginning to end, so you can't read it all in one day because it's so deep. But I'll start, and usually at bedtime, near bedtime, I'll read a couple chapters or whatever I feel that I can read, because it's such deep content. But the years have gone by, so it's becoming nature with me. It's becoming who I am. And then in the morning, I'll do a lesson, and there's 365 lessons, one for each day in the year. So I'll do each day in a row, and then when I get to day 365, I'll go back and start over at day 1. And that's how I do in reading the text, which is before the lessons. And I'll read the text, which is like a 600 and some page volume of the text. I'll start from chapter 1, read what I don't finish tonight before bedtime, then tomorrow night I'll pick up from there and all the way to the end of chapter 31. And then when I get done with that, I'll go back to the beginning, and that's just my routine. I keep it going like that all the time. And it's really good therapy. It really is. So the reason I brought that up is because I'm going to read, for your benefit, lesson 12. I know lesson 12 inside and out, but not really. Do I know it inside and out? I'd say that. That's the ego in me. But I do really know. But every time I read any of the lessons, I get new meaning from it, because there's no end to A Course in Miracles. There's no end to the understanding. It's like there's no end to the depth of our thirst for knowledge. So this lesson, I hope, which Mike and Anna in near Munich, Germany, have already said that this lesson has helped them realize that they can't really pray for someone. They need to pray for themselves to see that individual they're praying for differently. So it goes like this, lesson 12 in the workbook for students. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. The importance of this idea lies in the fact that it contains a correction for a major perceptual distortion. You think that what upsets you is a frightening world, or a sad world, or a violent world, or in an insane world. All these attributes are given it by you You give them those attributes. The world is meaningless in itself. These exercises are done with eyes open. Look around you, this time quite slowly. Try to pace yourself so that the slow shifting of your glance from one thing to another involves a fairly constant time interval. Do not allow the time of the shift to become markedly longer or shorter, but try instead to keep a measured, even tempo throughout. What you see does not matter. You teach yourself this as you give whatever your glance rests on equal attention and equal time. This is a beginning step in learning to give them all equal value. As you look about yourself, and here's the lesson, say to yourself, I think I see a fearful world, a dangerous world, a hostile world, a sad world, a wicked world, a crazy world, and so on. Or you might say, I think I see someone I'm praying for that's not listening. Whatever it is you think that you're seeing, and so on, using whatever descriptive terms happen to occur to you. If terms which seem positive rather than negative occur to you, include them as well. For example, you might think of a good world or a satisfying world. If such terms occur to you, use them along with the rest. You may not understand why these nice adjectives belong in these exercises, but remember that a good world implies that there's a bad one. Because how can you have good if there's no bad? So, and I'll repeat that. Remember that a good world implies a bad one, and a satisfying world implies an unsatisfying one. All terms which cross your mind are suitable subjects for today's exercises. Their seeming quality does not matter. For example, in the case of Mike and Anna, who are trying to pray for that person that they didn't seem to be helping, and it's based on what they're looking on. Be sure that you do not alter the time intervals between applying today's idea to what you think is pleasant and what you think is unpleasant. For the purpose of these exercises, there is no difference between them. At the end of the practice period, add another statement and say to yourself, but I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Okay? What is a meaningless world? What is meaningless? What is meaningless is neither good nor bad. Why then should a meaningless world upset you? If you could accept the world as meaningless and let the truth be written upon it for you, it would make you indescribably happy. But because it is meaningless, because the world is meaningless, you are impelled to write upon it what you would have it be. You're inscripting that in your mind the way you see the world to be. In other words, Mike and Anna inscripting the way they see that their prayers should be answered for the person that they've been judging. It is this you see in it. It is this that is meaningless in truth. Beneath your words is written the word of God, however you describe God. The truth upsets you now, but when your words have been erased, your physical words coming out of your human body's mouth, when they have been erased, you will see God's words. That is the ultimate purpose of this exercise. 3 or 4 times a day is enough for practicing the idea for today. Nor should the practice period exceed a minute, because the reason for that is because more ego-based thinking will just sneak on in on you, because then you start to analyze and dissect and and that's just not good. So you may find even this to be too long, even a minute. It only takes an instant or so to say these words to yourself in passing by wherever you are on the day. And that's why the exercise is proposed to you by A Course in Miracles, to be with eyes open and not really in a deep meditation where there's a lot of thought involved. You terminate the exercises when you experience any sense of strain. So in other words, when you're around and you're out and about, in an instant, you may want to say to yourself, I think I see a fearful world, a dangerous world, a hostile world, a sad world, a wicked world, a crazy world, however you want to say it. And then maybe an instant later or something, or later on in the day, you might want to say, but you know what? I am upset. I'm only upset because I'm seeing a meaningless world. Think about that. And like I said, for those of you that don't know much about A Course in Miracles, and I take it that many of you that are watching me here on this video know of A Course in Miracles and are a longtime student, maybe longer than I am. And I might have some lessons from you too, and I encourage you to message me. But for those of you that aren't familiar with A Course in Miracles, it's a great self-study for spiritual psychotherapy, and it doesn't claim to be a religion. It doesn't want to replace your other spiritual beliefs. It's one of, it parallels with many universal spiritual ideas. And I'll leave it at that. And look me up. I left my link in the description box of this YouTube video down below if you want to check out further what I'm about and my books and what I write about. And I encourage you, there you'll find my Facebook and my Twitter. I really love Twitter and Facebook both. And so feel free to message me. God bless. Thanks for listening.